Okay, today I'm going to give a quick summary of Socionics Quadras. So, the Quadras are probably the turning point for me for why I've, fallen in love with the idea of Socionics. I think it tells a complete story of the personality types and it kind of explains these differences. All of the psychological frameworks from psychological types, cognitive functions, and like understanding a function stack. It's just terminology to kind of break down why people think the way they do and why, they perceive information in a certain way and make judgments about the world. So I'm going to start a little series on YouTube, what I'm going to call Model X, and I'll also be publishing articles on my website. But basically, I think Socionics, it has so many great ideas, but all of the makers, all of the developers of Socionics, they are like far too smart for, the goodness of this typology framework. Most of them were INTPs, authors I read, they're all like INTPs, so they're super, super, super smart. But the problem is that, you know, literally to learn it, you kind of have to sit down and like take notes on it. That's what I was doing like all day yesterday. And like whenever I pick up a socionics book, that's kind of what you have to do. But basically, what I'm going to try to do is use the socionics great ideas, but translate it into MBTI terms and types because, yeah, I totally got discouraged and lost by the three letters. Like, what the heck is a IEI or, ILI, SLI, whatever it is. It's confusing. So, yeah, that's what Model X is going to be. I'm going to take the psychological types and just share the socionics ideas through MBTI terminology that people are already familiar with so that more people can learn about socionics and not be discouraged by, its mathematical confusions. So, just a quick recap. Carl Jung first theorized the psychological types ideas by publishing a book about cognitive functions that he recognized through his psychiatry practice in 1921. So, these ideas and theories, they have over 100 years of development. MBTI became popular shortly after Carl Jung published it, but, in the decades after, Isabel Myers and Catherine Briggs published a couple different books and assessment tests. And what they did was they took Carl Jung's ideas and created a type code. And these are the 4 letters for the 16 personalities that is more popular and commonly known today. Now this is like one of the most popular tests. And where socionics kind of fits in all of that is socionics was actually developed in the East, as in like Eastern Europe and like the former Soviet Union. The original developer is Ausha Agusta, and she was from Lithuania. And another prominent developer is Viktor Gulenko. He is based out of Kiev, Ukraine. And yeah, so as learning about it, all of these socionics people, they didn't speak English. Actually, Carl Jung didn't speak English either. He's from, I don't know if he spoke English, but originally his book was published in German because he's from Switzerland. But yeah, this is why there's kind of like a great divide between MBTI and socionics is MBTI and socionics, they were like developed kind of, separately. They never really crossed, and that's why the naming system is like different. Um, I think I've read online that you can compare them as like sister sciences. Uh, but yeah, socionics just goes way more in depth. So I'll do a couple different videos on socionics. Today we're going to focus on the 4 quadras, which is the alpha quadra, beta quadra, gamma quadra, and delta quadra, and their socionic story of how they uniquely develop into like their contributions to society and what kind of traits we can see from each quadra because they have different goals because of their unique cognitive functions. But yeah, quick aside. Socionics, it's like so cool because the original developer, Ashra Augusta, is what she's known as or referred to, but her full name is actually Augustina and something. I don't want to butcher it. But anyways, she combined 3 different things to make Socionics. So she took Carl Jung's psychological types, and then she also took the ideas from like psychoanalysis from Sigmund Freud to give these like, parts of the psyche. We talk about the ego, the id. They even made like a super ego and maybe a super id. But anyways, these different parts of the psyche, she took those ideas, those 2, plus there's a guy named Antoni Kapinski, which was some Polish psychologist who he's a person who analyzed and studied and theorized about how information is metabolized. So information as in referring to our attention, memory, and how it goes through the system of the psyche, or like how our brain actually processes information. And that's why socionics is like so beautifully developed, is because it takes really complex systems and combines them all to give a full picture of like how people process information. But yeah, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Liz, and this is The Quest In. If you're new to MBTI, or if you just want a quick reference guide, I think it's like a 12-page guide that you can download at thequestinpodcast.com/MBTI-guide. It goes over the 8 cognitive functions, how to read MBTI type code, has a page of statistics and some terms to know. But yeah, today we're going to get into the 4 quadras and talk about how these quadras, they really paint a picture of the story of the 16 personality types. I read about this in Viktor Gulenko's book, which is known as like Model Socionics. I'm still learning about socionics, so I'm kind of at a crossroads choosing between Model A and Model G. It seems like they're actually quite different, but for this is all from me reading Viktor Gulenko's Model G. However, I think it's easily applicable to just MBTI and socionics as a whole. But yeah, we'll get right into it. So this is the story of socionics. So the order actually is really, really important in the story. And I'm just going to go off of my memory. I read this a couple months back, but Alpha obviously is the first. These are the Greek letters. It's cool that they use the Greek letters because there's not confusion. I think a lot of MBTI, socionics, and like all of these different like frameworks, unfortunately, they use a lot of the same words to signal different things, and it gets kind of confusing. But, because these are just letters, it's not going to be confusing. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly the 4 types of each quadra and what kind of embodies these quadral essences. So the first is the alpha quadra, and the alpha quadra is made up by the ISFJ, ESFJ, INTP, and ENTP. So the SFJs and the NTPs. And the 4 cognitive functions that those have are introverted sensing and extroverted intuition on that axis, as far as their perceiving functions. And then they also have introverted thinking and extroverted feeling as their decision-making functions on that axis. So these are the 4 cognitive functions that all 4 of these types have. Each one has a different cognitive function as their primary cognitive function. But what you'll notice is that they all have similar goals and preferences and energies. However, it's embodied in different ways because of their unique function stack orderings. So the overall goal of the alpha quadra, and the reason why it's the first quadra, is because this quadra wants to establish community. Alpha types are the most likely of all the types to practice the initial strong dependence necessary, such as in a family between members to form a group. They are the initial evolutionary group that develops to create a harmonious social environment that has the potential for expansion. So, of all the types, they're the most likely to be family oriented, as well as they just have pure intentions. Alpha quadra, they want to help others. They aren't really driven by monetary gain. They will be stable enough to provide for themselves and provide for their children, but they're not driven to like make a lot of money. Instead, they want to maintain and stabilize a group, as well as discover things in a very purely altruistic manner. Then the next step of the quadra, so the alpha quadra, those were the establishers, they're the first of the group. Then there's the beta quadra. This is the next part of how a society develops. And for this group, we have the ENFJ, the INFJ, ISTP, and ESTP. So the NFJs and the STPs. And they are characterized by the 4 cognitive functions of extroverted sensing, introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, and introverted thinking. So the goal of this quadra is to spread community. This is a quadra that is characterized by people who like connection and are able to communicate their ideas effectively and charismatically. So the alpha quadra, they first come in and they establish community, they establish order to maintain a small group and a strong dependence on each other. But then beta quadra comes in and they want to make that group even bigger. So, you could think of this like when a town becomes a city. It's like expanding on what already is and spreading those ideas to invite new members to join that group. Beta types, they have organizational methods that excel at teaching knowledge in a very friendly and easily absorbable way. Through psychological and spiritual aspects, the beta types, they have a direct influence on others with contagious energy and just inviting thoughts. The beta quadras order, as second in the Socion, expands. It serves to expand from the small group, recruit outsiders that are attracted to the same beliefs. So then after that, this is where society it takes a turn. And what I mean by that is the gamma quadrant, it kind of has different ideals than the first and second. The first and second, they want to establish the group, they want to expand the group, and then the gamma quadrant, it is made up of the ENTJ, INTJ, ESFP, ISFP, so the NTJs and SFPs, and they have a different goal. Their 4 cognitive functions are extroverted sensing and introverted intuition. Those are the same perceiving functions as the beta quadra, but then we have new judging functions as far as, the first 2 quadras, alpha and beta, they operated on the introverted thinking and extroverted feeling axis, but the gamma quadra, it operates on the introverted feeling and extroverted thinking axis. So there's kind of different goals. The goal here for this quadra is expansion and to conquer new territory. Gamma types enjoy moderate individualism, value their personal sense of freedom, and avoid rigid dependencies. They love to expand beyond their immediate environment in the civilized world through business interaction. They're very pragmatic individuals who know how to engage, build, and invite like strong relationships that are productive. Gamma types truly have the entrepreneurial tools necessary in their personalities to succeed at building wealth. So while, the alpha types and the beta types, they're not really going to be very monetarily driven, the gamma types, they totally are. They want to build wealth, and that's like a mindset that they cannot shake from themselves. They want expansion, to do business, to excel at making money. And yeah, so in this phase of the Socion, say the alpha types, it's the town, the beta types, it becomes a city. I think what the gamma types kind of feel like is maybe like international or interstate business relations. This is where they're going to expand outside of their immediate group because they understand that outside of their immediate group is how they can bring more money into their system and build wealth. So in this phase of the societal development, class stratification and social hierarchy are very clear and it happens rapidly. This is where the rich will become very rich and that becomes a divide with the not so rich. So then, now in this story, as we go on, we've come to the last quadra, and this is the delta quadra. It's made up of the ISTJ, ESTJ, ENFP, and INFP. So the STJs and the NFPs. The delta quadra, the four cognitive functions that they use are introverted sensing and extroverted intuition as their perceiving functions, and then their decision-making functions are the same as the gamma quadra with introverted feeling and extroverted thinking. So as the final quadra of the four, their goal is to enjoy optimized society. Society has been built. The alpha quadra established it, the beta quadra grew it, the gamma quadra made it into what it could become as far as business relations. And now the delta quadra, they want to sit back and just enjoy it because they can appreciate that socially, a lot of things have been taken care of. So they enjoy maintaining that beautifully built society and they want to maximize their satisfaction in conclusion. But yeah, okay, so that was a quick summary of the four quadras. Let me know what you think. I really love this story. I'll make better videos. This was just kind of, I'm in a recording mood. But yeah, if you want to download my guide, please go to thequestionpodcast.com/MBTI guide because I want to teach MBTI and I just find it so fun. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. If you got value from this video, feel free to like it and support my channel that way. And until next time, please take care.